Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. This is another video in our Divi for Beginners series. Today we're going to be showing you how to set up your default buttons and have them the style that you actually want them. What we've got here is there's a default button that comes right out of the box with Divi. It's okay, it's functional, but we want to customize it, make it more in line with what we want for the rest of our site. And again, this is a default one on a dark background. Later on in the video, I'm going to show you a little secret of how to turn just about any module you want into a button. So let's get started. To customize our buttons so that every time we add one, it's the style we want, we need to go down to our dashboard. We're going to roll down to Appearance and Customize, or you can go down to Divi and Theme Customizer. They're both exactly the same. Click on one. That's going to take us to this page here. If I roll down, there's those little buttons. If we look down here, we've got a little tab called Buttons, and that's how we actually edit. Now you may wonder why these are blue. The reason these are blue is because that's the accent color of my Divi site. If you want to change the accent color of your site, it'll change all these colors as well. You can do so here also. That's under General Settings, Layout Settings, and at the bottom that's the theme accent color, and it's the default blue at the moment. That's why the default blue on the call to action there and the default blue writing on the buttons themselves. Great, well let's make these our own. I'm going to go back again. I'm going to go down to buttons, and we got two little options there, button style and button hover style. Button style obviously is when the mouse is not on it. Hover style, obviously, again, when the mouse is on it. So let's go into button style. Text size, you can type in a value or use the slider. That's fine with me. I'm going to leave it just like that. Text color for mine, I think I'm going to turn it white by clicking on there and just going down to white. Once you've got a color in there, you can roll it around and make it any shade of that color you want. For instance, if I was to make it over here, you can get any spectrum of the rainbow. And like I say, I'm going to make mine white today. It's disappeared up there because it's white writing on a white background. It sort of turns up when I hover over it. That's fine. Background color, I'm going to turn that orange. It may not do this in real time for us. The reason I'm using orange is that orange, as far as I remember, is the opposite of blue on the color wheel. We've got the actual opacity down on this slider, so if I put it all the way back up, it brings in that orange for us right there. And as you can see, all these buttons are changing there. It's got a white border around it. I don't think I want a border. And when they hover over, there's an icon there. I don't think I want an icon on this button. And for anybody that's worried, don't worry. Any button that you create, you can style individually. This is just so that every time you create a button, it is the styles and colors that you want perhaps to go with your logo or the rest of your site. Great, well, I'm happy with that. Let's roll down a little bit. I don't think I actually want a border on mine. So border width there, I'm going to take that down to 0. Like I say, you can slide or you can type in a value. You can use your borders for effects as well by making big ones on there. Border color, irrelevant because we've not got one today. Border radius, well, if you want sort of rounded buttons or pill-shaped buttons, you can give your border a nice high value, say 50 pixels, and it'll be pill-shaped. So if I put a 50 in there, as you can see, they've got the pill-shaped buttons there. Letter spacing, as it says, if you slide up, it's going to space them out. Slide back, it's not. As with most things Divi, if you do something you don't like, select it, delete it, it'll go back to the default for you. Now you can bold it, italicize it, capitalize it, underline. I think I might leave mine capital. Take the italic off. That's okay. I'll leave it bold like that. Divi has a huge amount of fonts to choose from. Just click on there and start going through. There's an absolutely crazy amount of fonts. I'm going to leave mine on the default. Add a button icon. On this particular button, I don't think I want an icon animating in like that. So I'm going to select no. If you want one, just scroll down and choose whichever default you want here. And there's an awful lot. They've teamed up with Font Awesome, so there's a crazy amount down there. I'm going to turn that to no. That's great. And you might have noticed there when I put my mouse over it. It's going back to the default grey there with the square corners. So let's customize that as well. We're done with our regular state. So I'm going to go back to button styles. I'm going to go on the hover state now. Text color, I'm going to leave just as it is. Background color. But if we make it a dark blue when they hover over it, I'm going to click on the blue there. And I want it fairly dark. Sometimes when you're in the builder here, it might not show it in real time, but we'll just refresh the page. I'm going to call that there. I'm going to give it a dark blue just like that. Again, we don't want a border color, but I do want the same border radius because I don't want it going from round to square. You may want that as an effect. If you do, fine, leave it just as it is. So border radius, I'm going to put a 50 in there. That's great. That's exactly what I want for my buttons. Now that blue is not dark enough for a regular button. I think the opacity may be down a bit on it. Let's go back into that blue background color. Yeah, this dotted slider is what they call opacity. The further down it is, the less you're going to see of that color. The higher up it is, the more you'll see of this. And we use this for great effects in gradients and over images and stuff like that. Let's try that. Yeah, that's a lot deeper. That works for me. Fantastic. When you're happy, hit your publish button. And if we go back to our page here and let's just refresh. There's our little new buttons there. Fantastic. Awesome. Just what I wanted. Now, every time we add a new button, let's enable my visual builder. We'll roll on down. Let's add a new button. I'm going to hit the little dark button to add a new module. And let's add a new button. And there it is right there. And as you can see, it's got our default styles. We just need to pop it in the middle. For anybody who's not sure how to configure a button, if you look under content, that's always where you can write what you want the button to say. Just down below, you've got the link where you can take your visitors when they click on it. Always best practice, if you're linking to your own site, keep it in the same window. If you're linking off-site, open it in a new tab. That way your site's going to stay open. Great. Well, let's save that. Now here's a little trick. This really isn't a beginner's trick. It's more of a sort of medium or advanced trick that I've learned over the years. You can turn any module into a button and you can make it those exact styles really easily. Let's add a new module. We'll use a blurb module because it allows you to add an image or an icon. Let's get rid of the title there. And we'll put what we want to make the button say. Just down below is image and icon where we can choose to use an icon or not. I'm going to use an icon for this. Let's have a right facing one perhaps. Looking similar to how it was above. When you're happy, roll on down. That's what I said before, where you link your button. I'm going to leave mine just as it is at the moment. Background wise, well, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to put a background in or anything like that. I'm going to go straight over to my design. I'm going to go to the image and icon. I'm going to roll down just a little bit and you can place your icon top or left. I'm going to place mine on the left. I'm going to color my icon white and it'll disappear into the background there. I'm going to roll back up. I'm going to make my icon color white. It's going to disappear into the background there. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it just like that. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the advanced CSS IDs and classes. And I happen to know the button class is ET for elegant themes underscore PB underscore again button. Watch what happens when I put the end on the end there. N on the end there. It's turned into one of our generic buttons. And that's a blur module. You can do it with any module if you want to make more complex buttons. I've just done it like that, so you've got a little icon there. And I'll put that little class name down below. And you may think, well, why do that? Well, you can make complex buttons. You can make buttons with 2 lines of text or something like that if you want complex buttons, which you can't with a regular button. If I add just a text module, perhaps. And let's split those up. I'm going to do shift return, so it does a small break just below them. I'm going to select the rest of this. I'm going to delete it. That's what I want on my button. Only thing that I will do here, I'm going to align the text in the middle. That's always over in design, text. Roll down to alignment. Go over to advanced and I'll paste in that class name. And you've got a 2-line button there. And obviously, and the content, put wherever you want to take them. And you can get some really interesting looking buttons going on that way. And of course, they'll all have your default styles. So there you go, guys. There's how to set up your default buttons in your customizer for the Divi theme. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.